They say trolls fear church bells. They say trolls fear iron. They say trolls fear the sun. But nobody tells you what happens when the troll doesn't need to chase you anymore. Because now, the troll is already inside your blood. Eirik woke on the third night after the mountain. His cabin was cold, but his skin burned. His fingers were curled like roots. His nails were darker, thicker. It wasn't dirt. It wasn't blood. It was stone. He tried to flex his hands. The joints cracked like ice, and when he exhaled, his breath didn't fog. It steamed, like something inside him was boiling. Eirik stumbled to the water barrel. The reflection looked like him, but not fully. His eyes had the wrong shine. A wet, mineral glint like river rock under moonlight. He pressed his palm against his cheek, and for one heartbeat, his skin didn't feel like skin. It felt like bark. It felt like the mountain. Then the pain hit, a deep, crawling ache beneath his bones, like something growing in the dark. He searched for the ring. He knew he had thrown it into the sea. He remembered the splash. He remembered the relief. But on the table, beside his knife, it waited dry, clean, as if it had never been wet at all. Eirik didn't touch it. He didn't need to, because the moment he looked at it, he heard the mountain. Not words, not a voice, a pressure in his skull, a slow, ancient hunger, and a thought that wasn't his. Debt is not paid with distance. By morning, the village had noticed. Not the ring, not the curse. Eirik, he walked differently now. His shoulders were heavier. His steps were quieter, and wherever he stood, the air felt colder. The old women stopped weaving. The fishermen stopped mending nets. Children stared, and then they did what villagers always do when fear returns. They blamed the one who came back alive. A priest arrived from the south, wrapped in wool and arrogance. He didn't ask what happened. He didn't ask what Eirik saw. He only saw the bruised sky around Eirik's eyes and the strange stiffness in his hands. He lifted a bell from his satchel, a small one, silver, and he rang it. The sound cut through the village like a knife. Eirik flinched, not like a man, like an animal. His teeth clenched, his jaw tightened so hard the villagers heard it creak. The priest smiled. "See," he said, "it fears the bell." But Eirik wasn't afraid. He was in pain. The bell didn't drive the curse away. It woke it. The ache in his bones deepened. His vision sharpened. He could see every pore in the priest's face, every pulse in his neck. And for one terrible moment, Eirik wanted to bite. Not because he was hungry, because the curse was. He stumbled backward. The villagers stepped away like he was the plague. Because he was. That night, the village tried everything. They nailed cold iron above every door. They lined thresholds with salt. They hung rowan branches like spider legs. They lit bonfires on the hill and forced Eirik to stand near the flames. They made him hold iron tongs. They made him kneel while the priest chanted. They dragged him into the open at dawn so the weak winter sun could touch him. And yes, the sun hurt, but not enough. Because the curse wasn't a troll living on his skin, it was a troll living in his name. It was an aurora debt, a promise made in the shimmering green dark. A debt he could not pay with prayers, or with iron, or with sunlight, because the debt wasn't just his to pay. It was his to become. Eirik began to see things. The wind carried whispers from the mountain peaks. The earth under his feet pulsed with a slow, heavy heartbeat. He could smell the fear on the villagers, a sour scent like spoiled milk. He tried to tell them, tried to explain that the mountain was awake, that something ancient was stirring, but his voice came out wrong. A low rumble that sounded more like stone grinding against stone. His words were just noise to them. They only saw the monster they expected to see. The priest was relentless. He saw Eirik not as a man who was cursed, but as the curse itself. He declared that Eirik's soul was lost, a vessel for the troll's malice. Each day brought new rituals, each more desperate than the last. They poured holy water on his skin, which hissed and steamed as if it touched hot iron. They tried to make him speak holy words, but his throat would close, the syllables turning to ash in his mouth. Eirik felt himself slipping away. The man he was, the fisherman who loved the sea in the quiet of his cabin, was being buried under layers of stone and moss and ancient rage. He started losing time. He would find himself standing in the forest, with no memory of how he got there, the smell of pine and damp earth clinging to him. His hands, now more like gnarled claws, had dirt caked beneath the stone like nails. He was changing, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. One evening, as the aurora borealis painted the sky in waves of ethereal green, the pressure in his head became unbearable. It wasn't just a thought anymore. It was a command, a deep, resonant call from the heart of the mountain. It wanted him. It needed him. The debt was due. He looked at his reflection one last time in the polished surface of the ring. His eyes were no longer his own. They were twin pools of cold, hard obsidian, reflecting the dancing lights in the sky. The villagers gathered outside his cabin, holding torches and pitchforks, their faces twisted in a mixture of fear and determination. The priest stood at the forefront, his silver bell in hand, ready for the final exorcism. But Eirik was done fighting. He was done being afraid. He understood now. The troll didn't want to destroy him. It wanted to claim him. He opened the door. He was taller now, his frame broader, his skin a patchwork of gray, mottled textures that looked like lichen-covered rock. He didn't flinch when the priest rang the bell. The sound was just a distant chime, an annoyance, like a fly buzzing near his ear. He looked past the terrified faces, his gaze fixed on the glowing mountain in the distance. He took a step. The ground trembled slightly beneath his heavy footfall. He was no longer Eirik, the fisherman. He was the mountain's debt collector. He was the troll, born of a promise under the aurora, and he was finally going home. The villagers didn't scream. They just watched in silent horror as the thing that was once their neighbor turned and walked away, disappearing into the cold, dark embrace of the Scandinavian night, a silhouette against the glowing, watchful mountain. The debt was paid. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the dark corners of folklore, consider subscribing and turning on notifications for more tales from the shadows. We'll see you in the next one.